Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll. This is Christopher Leandro Bartlett in person.
In the flesh.
High five. We did it. We are out at Cedarbrake Retreat Center. Is that the official name?
Belton, Texas.
Very, very good. So we are here at Ablaze Formation Week. I don't work here. Why am I here?
Yeah, what's going on? So yeah, we invited some guests to be able to join us and kind of grow as we talk about some of the different neuro realities of adolescents that we serve. And Taylor's leading the team in that space. And him
all one of them.
All one of them. And he came, he brought his guitar, and we're having a blast.
Yeah, it was a really fun thing. It was like PJ works with you, who actually replaced me, which was really fun. It felt like getting an email from myself. That was a really cool thing. He was like, "Hey, you want to come out here?" And I said yes. And then he was like, "Would you also like it to be free if you do music?" And I said, "Sure."
Yes.
So I'm also expecting like a cake at the end of this. Like I keep getting given things after I already agreed to it.
Keeps getting better.
Exactly. Yep. So it's good. So yeah, we're here with our parish youth minister, and we've been neural pathways sounds kind of wild.
Yeah.
How would you explain? Like we had day 1, day 2, day 3. I like how that was explained. Do you remember?
Yeah. Day 1 was focused on self. Day 2 was focused on the brain and how we serve through trauma. And day 3 is about making sure that we don't enter into trauma and that we're taking care of ourselves.
Right. So my favorite activity that we've done so far was the flashcards. Because who doesn't love a flashcard?
Dude, those flashcards. So the flashcard activity, we had 80 value words, value statements. I don't know. It's duty or God's will or family or love or intimacy or blah, 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 blah. And you're supposed to say super important, or not important. And I did the activity and I immediately took my top 10 and sent them to my wife. I think that was probably 3 months worth of marriage counseling taken care of.
Right. With just a few flashcards. It's so simple. It was this great activity. It led to a great conversation. Actually, right here at the table that our viewers are watching this from was the table I was sitting at with Mary Martha. And we kind of went through the activity, my answers, her answers. And it was fascinating because it was one of those things where I've taken enough of these tests that I was like, I know to take it as what is actually real, kind of based on my time. Right. Not what is aspirational. So It's like, it was real weird putting like forgiveness, because it said, like I've said multiple times, my favorite sacrament's confession is the reason that I'm Catholic.
Right.
Giving forgiveness is very difficult for me. There's a lot of people who have done some very heinous things that it's very difficult to forgive. I've talked about that before. There's also just like the little stuff of like working in a church and living in a community and working with, where you meet people that you just don't vibe with. And it's like, well, I don't like them and I don't want any relationship with them. So it's like, it literally said on forgiveness, it's like giving forgiveness even when it isn't due. I'm like, not very important to me.
Because in leadership roles, you step on more toes than you even know. And then all you would be doing is apologizing. Right. And so it's hard to recognize, but meaningful forgiveness is what I think. Right. If it said meaningful forgiveness and didn't clarify it in that way, right, I think it would have fallen a little higher.
I apologize for a minor thing to Mary Martha today because I care about her and I care about our relationship. Like I don't care about these other people because it's not very important to me. So, but like being honest in that was really interesting. And then kind of getting down to, even just internally, I was like, let's try to make these about as even as possible. Like I felt like that would help me.
Like a third.
Okay. It wasn't exactly by the end. There was more things in the middle column because that was kind of the harder one. It's like it could go either way. But if it was close and I only had, I didn't want nothing in the not important to me pile. So like I was moving stuff over there.
Because if everything's important to you,
nothing's important. But it was really fascinating seeing some of the things that were in the top 10, especially when it was like, I got, so let's just say it was 33. I probably had like 28 in my very, very important to me column.
Sure.
Then he was like, go down to 10. I got it down to 18 pretty quickly. Then I got it down to 15. And then it took me a few minutes to get down to 13.
It's a battle royale.
And then I'm like, dude, what? Yeah. Like, then I had to like start like wrestling with myself of like, well, I kind of get this one in this other one. So I'm going to get rid of this one or whatever. And it was really interesting seeing these things that were very important to me kind of be told they're not as important. And that was kind of like freeing for me because it's like what I was realizing throughout this whole exercise. Like, this is what I do every single day of what is important to me. And then I let things that are not as important. So like either other things from the very important or the like that middle column, and I let them come into my life. And then I don't have time for number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13
of your importance column.
Of my important stuff. So that was kind of a fascinating thing to see and be like, this is the exact same rest. It's just more obvious now, but it's like when family's important to me, but I'm playing solitaire on my phone for an hour instead of going to spend time with my family. It's like, where's that value? Because there is value in like, another value was like spending time alone and solitude and recovery and like, your own mental health. Like that stuff helps for that. But it's like, I want my life to look a little bit more like the ranking that I had yesterday.
It was hard getting it down to 10. If he would have had said, get it down to 2, easy. Family,
actually, yes.
Family and God's will. That would have been my top 2.
That was in my not very important to me.
God's will or family? My family.
my family was very, very high. And that's been a realization. We're going to talk about, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about C.S. Lewis's The Four Loves later in the show.
Yep.
Because that's been an eye-opening thing for me about like what I actually value and what I'm good at and what I'm absolutely not good at. But I was like, I don't know. It was kind of like going to confession, which is funny because the leader's Episcopalian. And I was like, buddy, we usually don't do confession out in public and then talk about it with each other. Well, you and I do, but most other people don't.
But no, like family and God's will would have been my top 2. If he asked me to make my top 1, would I end up being a saint or Vin Diesel from Fast and the Furious, right? Family. It's all about family.
And me, I'm like, I can make both happen. I can be Saint Vin Diesel.
Saint Vin Diesel. Yeah, that's what I was like. Is it God's will that I care for my family, or is my family the way that I live out God's will, and that's the most important part of my vocation? I don't know, but I looked at my top 10 list. These are my values, and I could see 2 or 3 of them because duty was one of my top 10s, and I operate.
Of course it was.
Yeah, of course it was. I operate out of duty and God's will quite often. Whereas my wife would probably not have that in her top 10, certainly not in her very important. It might be important, but not very important. And because I operate out of that, I can seem callous to her because I'm serving because I am called to serve. Whereas she's oftentimes serving because she loves the people that she's serving.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm loving my family and providing for them and making these sacrifices because it's the right thing to do, not because God told me to. And like, even in saying that, it's like it's probably in there somewhere, and like it was a foundation that was built on, but that's not the active thing in my brain.
I think it's 2 sides of the same coin, and just the fact that I looked at it and I was like, oh, I approach this with a different value, and not to put any moral judgment on the value that she values something different than I do, right? It's just that we value things differently, and that's okay. I sent her my top 10, and then I set the cards in my backpack, and I'm like, I'm doing this with my wife this next week.
I'm doing it with my wife. I'm doing it with our new hire next week. I'm doing it with our new hire in 3 weeks. And then I'm going to go through it with them and then share mine. Yeah. Because like, we're going to be spending a lot of time together. Yeah. You know? So it's also fascinating because it's like, we came in here and talked about it after. And like Mary Martha and I have like clicked from day one. It's like, we've worked very well together, but it was really interesting being like a lot of my top 10 are in her not important, and a lot of her top 10 are in my not important.
Wow.
And yet, like,
there's alignment still.
Like it's been pretty obvious to us that we're very different people, and like, but we've been accepting of that and work well together.
Sure.
But it was also just like, there were a few where, you know, we've known each other for, we've worked together for 8, 9 months, where it's like, I could have guessed, anybody close to it, it's like, I could have guessed these 6 of your top 10.
Sure.
Right. And then like 4 would have been like surprising to me because it's like, I don't see things as, I see duty as this is just what I've been taught to do as a man and a leader and a husband and a father, not necessarily because the Bible told me so or God's will kind of thing. So it's like, that's a cool thing to know about you, but it's like, I could have guessed your other 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And there was the same for her where it's like, even though we had different ones, it's like, yeah, I know this. I know this. I know it's just how you build a relationship. But there were like 3 or 4 on both of us that we were just like, I don't understand. Like, this is my number 2. How is it on your not important at all?
Right.
Like, how do you get anything done was really my question. And then she was like, wait, are you a bad person? And I was like, that was my fear doing this exercise.
Yeah.
I was doing the exercise and kind of like hovering over and protecting it so nobody can look at it. Like, that's not important to him. He's like, that's the most important thing in the world to me.
Right.
But it's like, that was kind of cool to notice how different we are. And it's just like, when it comes to ministry stuff, I actually actively seek it out. Now,
seek what out?
Seek difference out in people that I work with.
Okay.
You're the exception. You are the only exception. But I have often paired myself, and it was like this wisdom of experience.
No one says when they meet me or you, oh, you remind me of Chris Bartlett. No one's ever said that to you.
Yeah, they have.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. You and I are linked enough that it's pretty linked.
It's okay. I take it as a compliment if people are like, hey, you remind me of Taylor Schroll. I'm like, I just elevated my mental space. I'm like a Taylor Schroll.
Was that a big head joke?
Someone has one.
Very large dome. I forgot what I was saying. The large dome hitting fire in today. You threw me off by complimenting me.
I'm sorry.
Apologies.
Yeah, that's not important to you. So I apologize for apologizing.
Yeah, there are just a few it was just like, this was so surprising. But then it was really interesting, even in the like connection to like the forgiveness example that I brought up. I bet you that all of these people that I have had tiffs with, that I don't like them, they don't like me, or both, that their values are just incredibly different than my values. Where it's just like these things that come naturally to me. Like it's kind of like the love languages thing. It's like, I expect everybody to give me love in the way that I receive it. And it's like, in a similar way, like, oh, I expect everybody's value. We're all Catholic, right? But what's really interesting about this room is there's a lot of very good Catholics in here. And I feel very different than almost everybody in that room. And I would imagine I'm not the only one. Like there's a lot of...
You're one of the oldest 6 people in the room.
Yeah.
And 6 of the other people in the room are also seminarians.
Right.
I mean, that's a different demographic.
I was sitting next to a seminarian and he kept, like, he would show me like sexuality and put it in the not very important. I was like, good job, buddy. I pat him on the head.
And you grabbed it. So 2 of your things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was in that 11 to 13 spot. But I kept joy and pleasure in my top 10. So it's like, like, that's enough. But yeah, it was just really interesting. Like, oh, like this isn't even something that's important to half the people in the room or whatever. And it's like, even some of mine have changed. It was like, I've talked over the last few months about how much money has changed and how like, I was just listening to a podcast the other day about this. So it's kind of interesting. We'll kind of sidebar and then come back to it. But it was eye-opening to me where it was just like, there's a number, and there's always been a number. Right now, it's roughly between $80,000 to $100,000. If somebody makes that, their happiness level actually doesn't go up much more whenever they go through all these tests.
I've heard this before. And then after that point, it actually decreases. Is that right? Or there's a certain to where the amount of money actually stops bringing an increase.
It doesn't matter. Like there's a football podcaster I listen to. He's like, it doesn't matter. Like I make so much money now that like I made $3 million last year and $6 million. He's like, nothing has changed in my life. Where I went from not making 80 to 100 to making 80 to 100. And it's like, it has changed my life.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting is like kind of the fear in that is like, because I watched wealth and like having wealth go up in my list actively yesterday. It wouldn't have been on my top priorities.
Because it didn't feel accessible.
It wasn't accessible. I was a missionary. It was like, this is a sacrifice that I'm making. So it was not important.
Right.
And now it's not my top 13.
Right.
But it was on the very important to me thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, even like that kind of honesty. And it's like, I think it's because I've seen how much better it's made me as a person, like legitimately how much better it's made me as a person, not having the stress about money all the time. But kind of the warning in that, it's like, yes, this is better. But essentially it was that when the only time people aren't happy after 80 to 100 is because if these same people, as they're kind of progressing through the career, if they make 30, they say, what amount would it take for you to be happy? They look at their budget, 65. They make 65. What's that number when they make 65?
85.
106. Yeah. Whenever it's 106, now it's 250. And it's just like,
chasing.
At some point you have to be happy. And then they're like, legitimately is a number. They're like, it's somewhere between 80 to 100. And, depending on your
Like backed on research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like happiness studies over the years and years and years. So it was interesting to see that it's on the very important, but it's like now I'm like, even at the beginning of this, because I've never had this problem before.
Right.
I don't have too much, but like having enough money has never been that's never where I've received my comfort.
Notorious B.I.G. was right, man.
Yeah, exactly.
More money, more problems.
After 250. Yeah.
You'll report back to me.
He made more than $47,000 a year, I assure you.
I think so, yeah.
He had his streets money, he had his rap money, all this stuff. But I don't know, it was kind of this like, it was this gratitude, but then also this reminder of like you need to be happy. Because it's like people, she was saying this yesterday, it was perfect timing in this podcast that like people who have been stressed about money all the time, it's very hard to rewire your brain. It's like, I'm in a completely different financial situation and I get paid today and my stress level has been really high today because I'm like, I gotta pay this bill, I gotta pay this bill. And it's like, those things are true, but it's like, it shouldn't be this stressful. So it's like, I kind of need to reset and to rewire that part. It's just been some fun connections this week.
Well, and that's why when I put wealth or the financial piece in my very important, it goes back to when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. We had foster kids living with us and they were like siblings to me. I mean, that's ideally what you want is siblings.
They weren't raised as wards in a different part of the building.
You go to this corner of the building, child. And then my dad had some business things that didn't go his way. And he was kind of in between work for a little while. And ultimately, that financial situation led us to say, okay, we can't care for these kids anymore.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm sitting here and talking with the former leader of Ablaze. And at one point, he's like, why are you so wound tight about money? And I was like, I'm not wound tight about money. I'm fiscally responsible.
I don't want to lose my brother and sister.
And that's it. And then I went back and I had that realization. And the reason why financial stewardship is a big deal for me, and that's why in the family, I'm the saver and my wife is the spender. My wife actually might be in the middle of the rotor, but I'm so far on the saver side because I'm trying to keep the family together, right? And
we're going to have to sell Philomena.
No one else knew that those were the stakes that were going on in my head from this childhood event in my life. And so it's wild to think some of the ones that might surprise you, there's actually a story behind the value. And that art of listening when it comes to ministry and different things like that, to listen to the story behind the value, because our history shapes our values. Right. And it was interesting. Yeah.
The people that I disagree with are often the ones that just value very different things. And like, there are some values like when I see forgiveness on my not very important, I'm like, that's a problem and I need to work on it. But there are other ones on that list that I'm just like, I will never care about this because I don't think it's important. And I think if you think it's important, it's stupid. Like there was a few on that list.
It's stupid or you're stupid. And that's the challenge, is sometimes it's both.
Right. Yeah. But it was kind of this like, look, if there's not relationship, it's harder to bridge that wide gap. But if there is relationship, like there is with me and Mary Martha, like it's pretty easy to bridge that gap. This is what I was saying earlier when I got distracted. I have put myself next to Jennifer Savanoa for years in ministry because I'm a loud, extroverted male. She and more on the like pastoral side, I guess, than she would be. She is a introverted female who's more on the intellectual side than me, and
has the heart of a teacher.
Yeah, and so it's like I seek that out on purpose, like
for the balance.
For balance, it's
so like you're Taylor and she's a saint, and you're like, I need to stand next to this person.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Alyssa Treader, like I've been texting her throughout this week. It's like there have been all these people who are the opposite of me, but this kind of leads into another conversation like that I've been having with Mary Martha. It's like for years when I worked at Ablaze. It didn't happen as much when I worked at Forte Catholic because it was mostly just me, and Sarah added for a while. But now working at like I have always, not in a room full of people, but in a room full of people that work in ministry, I always think that I'm the least holy person in the room.
Wow.
Always. Like being here.
If your name was on a card, you'd always put you as not important.
Yeah, exactly. Not very important.
Yeah.
Well, see, it's interesting. I wouldn't put me not very important because I think my role is actually pretty important. And the role that I bring to, Catholic leadership, Catholic ministry stuff. But it's almost like I see myself as a necessary evil in a room full of holy people. Like you need people like me. You need people like me so you can look and say, that's the bad guy. But to the point where it's like, I see the world differently than most incredibly holy, saintly people. But I also bring a different skill set than most people who are mystics. And there's always been this hang up for me that holiness equals mystic in a room, having this ecstasy type prayer. I've not had that experience, but like Martin Luther King Jr. was also holy. And he's mostly known for activity.
Right.
And doing things and leading things. And it's like, I'm not a mystic. I'm not Martin Luther King Jr., but I'm more that vein than I am St. Therese of Lisieux.
Right.
You know, like that sort of thing. So it's like, there's something that God's working on me to be like, the awareness of your lack of holiness is good, but also like you're holier than you think you are, but because you don't look like X, Y, and Z saint, you actually kind of look like this other saint.
The architect that built St. Peter's Basilica is not as well known as the saints that grew, or the people who grew into saints inside St. Peter's Basilica.
I think the guy who painted it is more famous than most saints.
Well, sure. but that structure still exists.
Right, exactly.
And the church needs leaders that are going to stabilize and allow the structure to continue to exist. And at times, that requires leadership that's going to say, we got to let this person go, or we got to make this hard decision, or we got to say no when everyone else wants to say yes because the money's not there, or it would exhaust the mission, or whatever it is. And those hard decisions normally fall to Roman collars, but you're in a role where, you're just 7 years of seminarian, but you're making some very priestly-esque decisions. Right. In the decision side, not the sacramental side, in the decision side. And as the role of president of a missionary organization, there's moments where when there's a hard decision that needs to get made, I'm the one that has the final say, or I'm the one that has to make it initially.
Right.
And that's not always as fun as being the one who's levitating during prayer time.
Right. Exactly. So it's like, there's this constant kind of pendulum swing of like, I'm not the holiest person here. It is good that I'm here. Like kind of back and forth.
But you're setting the environment for the holy person to be here, right, to grow in holiness.
Right. It was interesting too, because it was our speaker this week. He said something that I literally kind of like, when I was trying to, me and Mary Martha and Samuel, our other youth minister, went to the Life Teen Youth Ministers Conference a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
There's a lot of insights coming out and a lot of team building and bonding and stuff there. And I shared with them like the three things that really hit me in prayer kind of throughout the week, but in that last night of adoration, I was like, there are three very distinct things. And it was like, I feel like I need to share this with you too in particular. It's like, like they always recommend like, oh, don't bring all your prayer into the public space. It's like, I need to share it with these two. And those things have come up a lot again this week, where it's been like a pretty consistent theme. But I was like, one thing that I did need to let them know was like, one of my prayers was like, help me protect them, meaning the youth ministers, but also like the people that I'm responsible for,
the souls,
shepherding, right?
Yeah.
It's this pastoral thing. I'm not a Catholic priest, I'm not a pastor, but it's like shepherding these souls.
Yeah.
It's like, help me protect them without losing myself.
Yeah.
Because that has been a thing that I've done. It's what I did at Ablaze. I protected all those young people and they all had a great experience.
At your own demise.
And it tore me to shreds. So it was really fascinating to hear our speaker say, I work with a lot of first responders. He worked with a lot of the first responders in the floodings that happened in Texas last year. And he essentially said, I'm making the sacrifice of myself to be there for them, to help them, to make sure that they can do what they do. And it tore him up. And I was like I didn't think I was the only one, but it was like good to see a holy, good, genuine man that I'm like, oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not perfect, but it's like that, the heart behind it and the desire to do it. That's good leadership. It may not be the most healthy, and he probably has more healthy outlets than I do, but it's like, I don't know. It was affirming to know that somebody else does that.
You're not the only one who, in the story of the prodigal son, feels like the fattened calf that was slain. It's like, I don't relate to either sons. I'm the one that gets sacrificed.
Right, exactly.
So everyone else can keep doing the thing.
Very funny. Who are you in the story? The pig. Pig. That's really funny. Yeah. What's been going on with you this week?
Yeah. So yesterday, it felt like it was more marriage counseling for me, because those insights were just colossal. And I literally can't wait to get home and take my wife and my daughter, who's going off to college, through that experience. But then today it helped me understand my son. Like, I was listening to the presentation on the different stages of development. And I wasn't thinking about the teens that we serve. I was actually thinking about my children that I care for.
Me too.
And some of that development. And I'm going to share a story with you about my time in Europe that revealed that to me, because they say for men, the frontal lobe, or the prefrontal cortex, where decision and impulse control editor decisions and impulse control kind of are held. Like, that part isn't fully developed until into your early 20s. And I see that in regards to the execution. I see my son in a different phase, and he's not being mean. He's wrestling with what safety and identity look like at his stage of life. And the way that I'm seeing that wrestle comes across as, I think he's being kind of mean. It's like, no, he's testing his boundaries, and that's what he should be doing.
Yeah.
Right. And 4th of July was amazing. We got some fireworks, and some of them could be thrown into water because of the wicks that they had. So my boys, they were given a little bit of freedom, and all they did was fill up empty soda cans with water and throw firecrackers into them and watch it shoot out. Then they figured out, if we only fill it up halfway with water, the can will shred, will just blow up in half.
That's terrifying.
And they loved it.
Shrapnel everywhere.
There was no shrapnel, but they would have learned, I don't know, a pirate son for the rest of his life. But anyways, long story short is, I'm in college, and I'm still in an earlier phase of development with my prefrontal cortex. And the person I'm with is a female, so she's more, because girls mature faster than guys. And we're at the Paris North train station, traveling at one of our weekends away in Austria, that semester abroad that they have. And I'm hungry. I am hungry. And it's like 2 a.m. So I see lights from this petrol station up the road. And so I say, Maria, let's go see if this place is open. We got another 45 minutes till our train. And we walk up there, and there's like 5 or 6 guys inside. Like they were all shopping. And it's concessions, it's food. I'm like, let's go.
Right.
So I try the door. The second I try the door handle, it's locked, and it goes, choo, 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 choo. Every single one of the guys that's in there looks over at the door, like immediately looks over at the door. And I was like, yeah, guys, what's going on? So I'm looking back like, come let me in. I want to buy some food. Right. And she grabs me by the arm, and she goes, walk this way with me, Chris. And I said, okay. I said, if they're open, they should open it for everyone. It would take me 2 minutes. I'm starting to justify, like, they could just open up. I know they're probably closing, but there's still people shopping. Clearly there's people shopping. It wasn't people shopping. She grabs me by the arm, and we start around the corner and start heading down. And she looks back, and there's 2 guys that are following us. Yeah. And she goes, Chris, walk a little bit faster. I'm still confused. Because I was hungry, and I was operating out of...
The amygdala was winning. Her prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, feed me, feed me, feed me. She said, they were robbing the store, and now there's 2 of them following us. Walk faster with me. Don't look back. And so I did. I walked faster, and then we got to the entrance to the train station, and I scared up a couple of coins and got something out of the vending machine there. And they stopped following us once we started picking up the pace, and that was that. But I was literally almost murdered because I was in a different stage of development.
I was hungry. Yeah.
I was in hungry mode, and she was in like, no, let's actually assess this situation. Why is that window down there broken and the doors are all locked? Chris, let's leave. Right. I would have used the window had she told me not just, hey, let's go around this way.
It would have been, what's so funny though is they would have opened the door, and you would have immediately, before they could say anything, you would have been like, I want a hot dog. And they would have been like, they looked at each other and just be like, they probably would have given you a hot dog.
They might have just said, leave.
Here, go away.
Maybe. So that developmental thing, it reminded me of that story, but it also made me think about my son, and teaches me the more I keep in mind developmental stages, the more I should expect behavior that relates to his developmental stage, not to my developmental stage. Right. And I sometimes parent in the way that I expect my kids to be adults, which is not fair. It's not reasonable. And so there was a lot of eye-opening pieces from today's presentation. What about you?
Yeah, a lot of today's presentation was all about like here in the first 18 months, this is what the kids are going on in kids' brains. And for me, I thought about a lot about my kids first. And then once I kind of like worked through stuff with my kids, I went to the track kids. And so much of, these young people that I coach, and like some of it is so apparent when you can see good versus difficult childhood, meaning like parents, family around,
right?
Kids, like it is such a win, even if the parents aren't perfect, just to have two parents there that care. They're going to make mistakes. They're not going to be, they're not going to be great at everything, but it's just like most of our successful kids are two parent, and most of the kids that struggle, it's just like it gave me even more, because I've built relationship. I've grown in empathy for a lot of these kids, but it's just like there are kids that don't have their parents around. They're being,
and it sucks because everyone's supposed to be dealt 5 cards,
right?
And some of these kids that were only dealt 3 cards because of their home life situation are playing the ever living crap out of those 3 cards the best that they can, but they're still running into things because you need 5 cards to win some of the hands, and it's heartbreaking to see that.
Right. Yeah, to get 3 of a kind, you have to have 3 of the exact same card, not 3 of 5. Yeah. But also it was like kind of affirming to be like, in my small way, I played a small role in helping. Like a lot. One of the things that kept coming up is like, oh, if your amygdala, which is all the like the fight or flight, and it's the I'm hungry, so I'm not going to assess the situation. I'm not going to think logically.
Right.
It's like I see that a lot with teenagers, whether it's track or youth ministry or whatever. But it's like with a lot of track kids, because I'm seeing them in a lot of situations where we are putting their body into. It's either fight or flight.
It's
like,
flight.
Or freeze.
Yeah.
And I see them freeze quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I see them fight. Typically, it's like, me or their body. Or they just don't want. And it's like, I've been coaching long enough to know, like, I'm not, like, I've gotten pretty good at it. But it's like where I have seen growth in myself as a coach is being I want to do the logic stuff. And like, they're just not there. They're not at the logical point. So with a lot of them, I had to slow down. It was pretty affirming to, like, I used to say like, what was that? Or like, dude, because I was coaching guys younger. It's like, I coached only guys when I was younger. Now I coach girls as I've gotten older. And it's like, both of those things have been good for me.
Sure.
Like that transition. But I literally ask my kids now when they come off the track and something didn't go well, I ask what happened, which is exactly what he said to say. Because if I say what happened and they're like, I just wasn't feeling it today, I can dive in and start mentally punching. That's not good enough. We worked too hard for you to not try. Like, you worked all summer, you worked all the last 3 weeks just to when it mattered, like, not give it. It's like, we need more. But then if I say what happened and they're like, my calf's really bothering me. Sometimes they're lying. But I've got a pretty good lie determiner. They're like, oh, then we need to get you treatment. And
you call it that? You call it the lie determiner meter? The bull lie determiner meter?
I was going to say something that had a cuss word in it, and I corrected myself. So what I said was better than I was going to say. My BS meter was what was in my brain.
Yeah.
But I've gotten pretty good at that. Oh, we need to get you treatment and pull you from the rest of the day. And then I'm already thinking logically, because I've pre-planned and I've thought logically, like, what if somebody gets hurt? What do I do?
Oh, wait, you've got the backup plan number 3.
I'm doing logic in my head,
yeah,
but I am outwardly showing care at the moment. And then I will go find the person that I need to be logical with. Hey, this is what we're doing. Oh, I don't want to do it. It's what we're doing. Like, but then also like I'm sick. I coach girls now. Like, there's certain times where they're not at their best.
Yeah.
And it's nothing of their fault. And I've built enough relationship where they're able to tell me that. And I'm like, then I'm not going to push it off. Things will be better next week and they'll have taken care of themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, asking that question allows me to respond. It essentially tells me, I will always be loving, because even pushing them and digging into them is loving, but I can be very compassionate if they're not in a place where they can hear where I used to just be like, what do I think is best in the moment? And now I'm kind of inviting them to tell me what's best in the moment.
They're walking off the track and you say what happened instead of get out of your head and stay focused.
Right.
But we at Ablaze say never accept a label in place of a story, right? So that what happened instead of you did poorly, even when they say I didn't do good, it's like, okay, or if they say I'm bad at this, I'm like, that's not true. Don't label yourself. What happened? What really happened out there? And then you get the story, and that dialogue is such an important piece, especially when they're in that development. Developing is a wrestling piece, that brain development, those stages. People wrestle through that development and they surge a little bit forward, a little bit further forward. And that articulation is part of that wrestling.
Yeah. One of the things that I was wrestling with today, it's another track story, but this time it's with my kids, where I have a 13-year-old boy, 11-year-old girl. And it's always been interesting for me to figure out, like, am I dad? Am I track coach? Like, what role do I play? Because, like, I play both for my son. And essentially, most of the time, I've kind of felt out the situation or asked him, like, do you want me to cheer you on or do you want me to help you? And a lot of times he's like, I want to be good at this. I want you to help me. Yeah. So it's like, then I coach him, you know? Yeah. But it's been really interesting because my son, all of this was a good decision, but I have been second guessing the decision because of the outcome, but I still don't disagree with the decision. But it's still been wrestling the things in my heart, where the decision was for my kids to do summer track this summer, primarily because, well, one, they've both shown aptitude for it, but two, it's the summer and they need to get off their butts and not stare at screens all day.
Sure.
So like
it's something to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's an activity, and it's been really good to, like, it gets them out of the house. It gets them out of the, like, you know, like this, we're video game people. Like our screen time's probably more than most good Catholic parents, but it's just like, but it's less this summer because my son's doing 2-a-days. He's going Monday through Thursday to 2.5 hours of strength and conditioning camp. He comes home, he eats, he plays video games, we watch a movie, and then he
eats some more.
He eats some more. He goes to track practice in the evening. And so they're at track practice 3 nights a week and then a track meet essentially every weekend. And it's been great for them, like physically, mentally, for the good of the summer for them. It's all been good. But summer track is the best athletes in the state. Like the kids that do summer track are the kids that care about track because it's just track season, but 25 degrees hotter and you're not required to be there.
It's Texas.
Like you have to choose to do this, you know? And the best athletes on the track team from every school around the state are the kids that are doing this, right? So my son went from a Catholic school where he, just by having the name Schroll, was the best kid his age. Yeah. He was a 6th grader running with the 8th graders because they had 3 fast 8th graders and he was the 4th fastest person on the team. Like, he was very good, big fish, small pond. Then he went to the public school and he was like medium-sized fish in a large pond. Yeah. Because he was good enough to be on the relays. And he got 6th place in 2 different events at multiple different track meets with the best people in the county.
But all 6th graders.
All 7th graders. Yeah. Okay. But like incredibly impressive. And then now we're doing summer track and it's like, these are the best. Our area is South Dallas to about an hour south of College Station.
It's North Texas. That's everything above the waist.
So we have this huge region and like, he's doing well. Both of them happen though to be the babies. Both of them are in, Chris is in U14. He's 13. He was born in April. It goes by year. So there's only 3 months of people that are younger than him. Maggie is in U12. She's 11. She was born on January 3rd. I'm almost positive she's the youngest person in her age bracket. So it's like Chris got to do small Catholic school, big public school, and now the best people in the state. Matt, so he's doing fine because he's like almost so confident that like him losing a little bit is probably actually good for him.
He's rising to the challenge because he's been big fish before.
Maggie, this is just like she did like club track at her school. And like she won the 400 at their one meet that they had because there were 3 of them and one of them stopped and started crying and they all went to go check on her. And then Maggie kept running after she saw that her friend was fine. Like it was very sweet, but it wasn't a crazy competition. Right. So then she didn't get this like progression. She just got thrown in to the thing. And
the best in the state. Also, everyone in her category
is older than her.
Yeah,
is almost 2 years older than her. You know,
at age 11, when there's a lot of differences between an 11-year-old girl and a 12-year-old girl. Yeah.
So, and like essentially with like I have different goals for them, and I thought, maybe I wasn't because I don't want to say that. I thought I was pretty clear then. Like for Chris, I was like, this is good for you to continue to show you that like it takes hard work to be good.
Yep.
Like you have natural ability, but like you're going to have to work hard. Like I was often the only white person on the track. And a lot of it's because I did have some natural ability. The athleticism runs in my family, but like I outworked every person at my school. Okay. I don't know the work ethic of everybody that I competed against. I outworked everybody at my school. Yeah. Like I worked harder than, because a lot of these guys had more natural talent than me. And
they wrote it out and you hustled your way into
it. Yeah. And so that's the lesson that I desired for him to learn. And that's happening. All good. With Maggie, it broke my heart at one of her track meets. She texted me apologizing that she didn't do well in her 100. She got like 7th out of 8th place. And I was just like, my goal for her was just to get a taste of track and for her to work on some technical things. I've worked on a ton of technical things over the last 3 years with Chris. I've done none of, like, this was just kind of like an introduction.
This was supposed to be fun. Just fall in love with track. You don't have to get a medal.
So like I have actively kind of worked hard to not put any pressure on her.
Yeah.
I don't try to put excess pressure on Chris, but I do put some of them. I was like,
but he's also invited that because you actually had the dialogue and he's like, Dad, I want you to actually push me a little bit. When
I had the thing where I had the what happened with Mike, there was a meet where I said, what happened? He's just like, I wasn't feeling today. And I said a few things out of anger that probably weren't good, but I was just like, then what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like you put in all the work. We drove up here. We've been here all day. Like we're doing this because you want to do it. Yeah. Like, why aren't you doing it? He's like, and then he responded well. He performed way better later in the day. Like,
okay, great.
It was a good thing to work through. And I'm glad it happened at a regular season meet and not this weekend at the regional meet where we're trying to qualify for state. Like, so even that was good. It wasn't a great moment, but it was a good, this is why we do this stuff, to learn these human lessons. It's good for the development, whether it's track or that's a good lesson to learn on the track or outside.
Yeah.
Right. But with Maggie, it was just like, I have actively kind of worked towards not putting any pressure on her, but my kids have grown up in that track household.
Yeah.
They know it's important to me. They know that I did it. They know that I was good at it. They know that they see the amount of time that I put into the one at the school because they don't see me at home a lot during track season. Right. They hear me talk about it all the time. They see the state championship rings. They see the banners with they see it all. So she knows it's important to me.
Right.
And she thought I let her down. I'm like, baby, I'm literally just proud that you're here.
Right.
And so it was this interesting thing. And it's talking about the brain development and the thing that I'm worried about, because the stage that she's in right now, her and Chris are both in right now, that we learned about today, was they're going between confidence in their competency and this inferiority. Like, I'm not good enough. Right. And I feel like with Chris, I'm doing it very well. And I feel like by putting Maggie as a small fish in this big pond immediately, I might be messing her up. That's my fear.
I hope that's not the case.
Me too, buddy.
But I have sought to earn God's love, God the Father, in so much of my spirituality, like my spiritual history and things like that. And if I do God's will all the time and this duty, maybe he'll love me. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be worthy of this love that I don't. So I self-select out because I don't feel worthy of God's love, because I don't think that my behavior is meritus. But can any of us merit the depth of love that God offers us? Only the mystics and the priests. But no, it's insane to think so. And heaven is full of people that didn't deserve God's love, right? Didn't earn God's love. And earth is filled with people trying to earn God's love. And I'm just, what am I doing here? Right. And Maggie's text to you was, Dad, I'm sorry I let you down. But really she was saying, Dad, I'm not worthy of your love, and I understand that. Right. That's what you might have been. And Dad's like, what? I never said this. And God's looking at you like, what? I never said that. You get that text, you're 2 states away, and you just start running home. I'm coming, baby. I'm coming. No, I was at the track. She texted me because she didn't want to tell me. Oh, gosh. But like that's a redemptive moment to be able to be like, it's never been about you winning. And I've learned that a little bit in regards to my kids' sports. It's like, you don't ask them, hey, why did you lose? Or I say, did you have a good time? Dad, we lost. I said, well, I sure enjoyed watching you. And then I always name 1 or 2 You've been pissing me off this week. It was fun to watch you lose. My daughter, Faustina, this is my 14-year-old. She plays basketball. And middle school, she wasn't the fastest on the court, but we had worked together on get that ball. So anytime someone goes by her with the ball, she would grab the ball and twist and twist and twist. She was throwing players across the court because they would hold on to the ball and get twisted. Then they'd lose their grip. And my daughter would be there standing with the ball, move the ball down, make a pass and things like that. And the team had its highs and its lows. She wouldn't always win, but she would always throw someone to the ground. I was like, that's fun to watch, sweetheart. That's
the stats you're keeping.
Yeah.
8 rebounds, 4 points, 3 girls thrown
three bodies hit the floor. It's insane. And so we were able to smile about that every drive home. And the fascinating thing is, so long as I don't bring it up, my kids get over their losses a lot quicker than I would had I just been like, how you doing? I remember how you lost yesterday. Are you still feeling sad? Actually, I forgot about that, but now I'm remembering it again, Dad. And so I don't know. I don't think you're messing her up, but I do feel like, do we clip the red wire or the blue wire or the green one? And I always am freaking out that I'm going to clip the wrong wire.
It's like, she needs competition, but it might be too much. What's the perfect?
Yeah.
And that was kind of a theme going through today, of just like, well, we need this, but not too much. And I'm just like, were there just the 3 bears? Just like, just right. Yeah. I'm like, that's impossible. Like, we just got to try our best and overcorrect whenever we go too far one way. So,
and we're not in this alone. Like, God is journeying with them in their development and things like that. And sometimes I feel like, especially as the father, it all rests on my shoulders. And that's just not true. Yeah.
My shoulders have been very tight lately. Maybe that's why.
My shoulders hurt yesterday. There was this big old bear leaning on him at the end of the day.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's my thoughts about this week.
4 loves.
The 4 loves.
Let's do it.
You're right. Did you have a story too you wanted to share about something?
No, that was it. No.
Okay. 4 loves. This was pretty eye-opening for me. So have you read it? Are you familiar with it?
It's been a while.
So
is this agape and okay.
Keep going.
Filio, Eros,
Storge.
That's right.
That's the one nobody cares.
Storge. Yeah.
I said that I have read the 4 loves. Technically, I've not read the 4 loves, but what I did was cooler than reading the 4 loves.
Okay, go on.
I bought the audiobook because when you buy an audiobook, it's the audio of the book that you bought, right? That's how
100% of the time.
Yeah.
Or so we're told.
99.9999. The first thing when I opened up the audiobook, it says, "This is not the audiobook of the 4 loves." Like, what did I just buy? Like,
oh my God. No wonder it was only 99 cents.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been duped. And then they were like, the 4 loves started as C.S. Lewis's teachings that he gave in a 4-part series, a lecture series.
Yeah.
And he presented those. And then after he presented them, he went and he edited those things and made it the book. So on my drive to Branson, Missouri for our family vacation, I listened to C.S. Lewis present the 4 loves.
These were his lectures?
The recordings of the lectures.
Whoa.
Incredible. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah. So it's just like this guy that I've been reading. Screwtape Letters is my favorite book, period. Like it's my favorite book. I love it. Because I edit Pints with Jack, I've been editing that for years. I have grown in my appreciation of the breadth and width of his of C.S. Lewis's bibliography, and just how. So I've been slowly reading more and more of the books because I'm editing podcasts that are revealing them all anyway. I edit the spoiler cast, so I might as well read the books.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm listening to this audiobook of C.S. Lewis. I'm just like, this is just so special to hear this just titan of Christianity in my ears that I didn't think I had the opportunity to. So he starts with Storge, and that's like just the love that like a father has for their kids. Like that's like one of the easiest ones. Like they're literally part of you. Like even more than Eros, which is your wife. There's just this like this is just an extension of me.
Yeah,
it's like I love me quite a bit. It's pretty easy to love this. Right? And then he goes into the filio, because that's kind of how we go. It's like you have, so you start your life as the love for, it's the opposite, love a kid to your parents, right? Or your the figures in your life, the adults in your life, that sort of thing. And how like just naturally and easily that comes, and how like you literally can't take care of yourself when you're a baby. So like, it's just innate in you that you appreciate these people that are taking care of you, all that sort of thing. And then the filio is this brotherly love. It's like you love your siblings, then you start making friends. You're going to elementary school, middle school, and you're making these friends and you're figuring it out. And like, sometimes it's hard, but it's like,
it's your birthday party list.
Right. Yeah. It's like also pretty easy because if you struggle with somebody, they're just not on that list anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so, and then you get to, junior high school. For you, 18 years after college, you finally start, talking to the other gender and that sort of love. But it was like, what was eye-opening in that, my real eye-opening piece came in the agape piece, which even saying that kind of makes me mad because it's kind of against the point that I'm about to make about agape. But the eros, it was just like, I think as a Catholic, so much of sexuality has always been a no, bad, don't.
Taboo, right? Yeah.
Every time you do something, because like when you're a kid, that's all you're taught. Every time you do anything like that, you're a sinner and you're a terrible person.
Someone's in trouble.
And you're probably kicked out of the house. Like, like whatever, right? So like, even though it's like, oh, then you get married and everything, like I had this conversation, then you get married and everything's fine. Then you hear about NFP and you're like, actually, no, there's actually more rules now. You're like, what? Yeah. I've been duped again. I've been tricked. So it's just like, I've just been told no and bad this whole time. And I'm like, I mentioned earlier, it's in my top 11 to 13 things that I value and are important to me. Like, it just is what it is. Makes me a bad person. I don't care. I'm just being honest. So like the fact that was a good love that God instilled in us was like kind of healing,
redeeming
to hear.
Yeah.
But the real eye-opening thing for me, and it was so cool to hear C.S. Lewis of all people say this. And I'll caveat for a moment and let that be the setup for
teaser.
A bit. Because my experience of agape kind of came through the Acts retreats, where essentially, and maybe this isn't what Acts teaches, but it was 100% my experience of, because they would talk about these 4 different loves on a lot of these Acts retreats. And essentially it was like, everything is meaningless except agape. Like, it doesn't matter if you love your kids, you love your parents, you love your family. It doesn't matter if you love your wife. It doesn't matter if you love your friends. It doesn't matter about this community. All that matters is love of God. It's like, have you heard anything similar to that?
No.
With the agape stuff? It's like the only love that matters is agape. And like, that's been a chorus that I've heard for years. Like, even outside of Acts, it's just like, love of God is all that matters. Because like, if you think about like, oh, in the end, when we're in heaven, we're not married, we don't have kids. Love of God is the end.
Right.
But even how C.S. Lewis goes through it, it's like the first love we understand is story. And then filio, and then eros, and then and only then agape. And essentially what C.S. Lewis says in this last section is like, yeah, it's the best. And it's the ultimate love. But it's really hard. Do the other ones well and you'll be mostly fine. Like, that's my version of what he said. But it was essentially like, if you want to love God, because loving God is way harder than me, that like family was in my top, it was in your top.
Yeah.
God's will was higher on yours than it was for mine.
Okay.
Like, it is way harder for me to love God than to love my wife, and to love my kids, and to love you. It's way more difficult. Sure. But essentially what C.S. Lewis is saying is like, if this is hard, use the stepping stones to help
practice.
And he's like, even if you don't get to this full selfless love of God and neighbor, he's like, it was this reminder, and it was something that we've all kind of heard, I think, when we were kids, but I needed to hear it as an adult. If you love your kids, you are loving me and your kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you love your wife, you are loving me and your wife. If you love Chris, you are loving me and Chris. And like, that was so healing for me because I've always felt insufficient in my agape love, because I don't think I've done it more than 5 times.
Right.
Like, but I think I've gotten pretty good at some of the other ones.
Yeah.
And so it was this like, yes, you're being called to something higher, but also it kind of negated that these other ones are meaningless, or just not as good, but this agape love is so good that it kind of renders the other 3 meaningless.
It is interesting because for exploration of love, I don't really need to explore the love that we share between each other, filial love.
Right.
It's like, yeah, he's my bro. And it's like, we get it. It clicks, right?
Right.
But if I went to agape love and came back to filio and said, now I want to explore how God sees Taylor, do you see how then our love could deepen?
Right.
So again, agape love isn't necessary for the filio that we share, but it could certainly add depth to it.
Sure.
Right. So I can appreciate what maybe you heard on that retreat as saying, but the way it was said was like, if you don't make it to the NFL, there's no reason you should throw the football in the backyard with your dad. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Doing college track was completely pointless because you weren't in the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was actually pretty cool.
It was pretty good. Yeah. You should still run even now as an adult when you're not track ready. You can you can still exercise. And so it's an interesting thing. But if you make it to the Olympics, that informs your college track experience in a whole new way. And the people at your college are like, we, the college, sent someone to the Olympics.
Right.
And it informs the other in a very beautiful way. So yes, bring agape into it. But if you're just learning, keep developing, keep growing, and just love a little better the next day. Yeah.
That's good. That's what I have.
There we go. You guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. my
My name's Taylor.
And I'm Chris. We'll be back in a month. See ya.
I tried.
On to never.